let's talk about Superman. So this is the first video in a fiction series that I'm starting, and it's about prominent characters in pop culture that sort of affect the way we conduct ourselves in the world, our psychology, the general human response. And I couldn't help but start with such a colossal, popular fictional character such as Superman, which I think everybody is aware of and everybody knows up to some extent, even if you don't know some of the backstory or general implication of the character in the comic book world. You know what Superman stands for. And the reason I call it the Superman Confrontation is because that is really the purpose of a character such as Superman. If you really think about it, and when you're younger and you're a kid, and this is more likely to happen, that as a kid you look up to Superman rather than any of the other complex superheroes, because Superman stands for simpler things. And as a kid you understand what Superman is. He's basically the guy who saves the day, right? I mean, he's got so much strength and so much power and everything, but he's the guy that saves the day. He's the guy that is loved by everybody. He's generally charming. He smiles, and he's good with kids, and all that kind of really inspires you as a kid, and that really gives you an inspiration. But what does Superman mean? I think about this more often than I think about a lot of other things, and there's just so much to it, and yet it's so simple. So, for example, when Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster created this character, the world was a completely different place. There have been 2 world wars, and there have been a couple of other conflicts around the world. What draws us to Superman? I think it's just Superman's morality and goodness, rather than his power and his ability to shoot laser beams through his eyes or see through walls or fly. We are drawn to the idea that he's something that is lacking in this world. And for 100 years we've strived to be something like that. But the idea of a character such as this existing makes us realize that something like this does not exist so much in the world. And so we are consumed by it. And that's why we entertain ourselves with the idea of Superman. Now, it's easy to say that he's drawn from Nietzsche's Übermensch, or the Superman theory of Nietzsche, for example, but it really isn't. And both Siegel and Shuster have completely dismissed that notion over the years, mainly because it became the standing ground for the Second World War for Hitler, but and Superman did not implicate any of that. Superman was a completely different figure. He was in fact portrayed to be a part of so many historical events, but he was anything but that. And so Superman's morality, Superman's almost messianic conduct in the entire plot is something that sets him apart from these theories of psychology. And I couldn't find any other content that spoke about this in such a way. Maybe I didn't look enough, but the thing is that once you're older, you're driven to look at Superman as something that embellishes this whole idea of human choice. Because we know that he's not human, and that's a preconceived information that we are always confronted by each time we are reading or we are watching Superman on screen. We know that he's not a person, but yet, and there's a line in one of the recent films that I love very much, where they describe Superman as being more human. And that's a very strange epiphany for us, because he's really an alien. Then that's the whole foundation of Superman as a character, and yet he's more human. And that's because he's human because of the choices that he makes. If you really think about it, that's a human choice. In spite of all that power, in spite of all that strength, he chooses to not use it for a evil gain. And we've seen so much glorification of power in general, power and authority, and we see people taking advantage, that when we look at Superman, we essentially think this is a good guy, he's a good person. But we are also looking at him through the lens of, let's say, he's not a human, and he's not born a human. In fact, he's a stranger, he's an outcast, he's a traveler, an immigrant. And so that gives us the sort of notion of the empirical, the cultural implication of our personalities, rather than our births and our hereditary sort of statuses. And it tells us that even if you are from somewhere else, whatever is around you, all the values around you, all the moral notions around you, all the things that can give you an experience, all the things that surround you are capable of creating who you are. And those are the things that indicate who you become. And that's what Superman stands for. And that's why you need somebody like General Zod, to show that General Zod is from the same place, and yet General Zod makes the choice. He has the same powers. He makes the choice of essentially going the evil way. And so Superman's morality, Superman's goodness, Superman's personality is something that has been strived for so many years, for 100 years. And this confrontation, though very simple, was profound for us through the wars, through the various catastrophes, through the various events that are unfavorable. And even today, when you look at the world, you strive for something like Superman, because that's the, let's say, that's the metaphor for our ideal self, in a way. There's so many superheroes, but Superman seems to be the most loved in retrospect and widely. You don't have to be deep into this side of fiction or pop culture, but you can just, Superman is just something that you can love and you can inspire to be. And that's it, really. That's just jamming on a few thoughts. And I might end up making a video on another character, and I'll do a Batman confrontation, and I'll do a couple of other characters. Keep watching. Thank you.